Dragon Age: The Veilguard had a rough second weekend in release, as you can see right here. Didn't quite get to that lauded 89,000 mark, and in fact topped out at just a little bit over 61,000 people Sunday night. You gave it the old college try, guys, but basically, yeah, your efforts have failed. There is no comeback for this one. It will, in fact, be resigned to the dustbin of history, and BioWare might not even get around to further defaming the legacy of Mass Effect. I mean, if any of these reports are led to be believed, it really does look like this game is going to be the biggest flop of the year that it's currently still in circulation. Concord transcends specific years, mostly because all of the refunds are out there and you can't even buy the game anymore. But Dragon Age: The Veilguard, yeah, it's going to be the worst one of 2024. And I can't wait for Jeff Keighley's stupid Game Award nominations to come out. And if the Veilguard is on there, oh boy, am I going to be absolutely apoplectic, because I haven't really been keeping up on a lot of people playing this game, mostly because whenever I open up a stream to just either simply listen to it as an audio assault that you're not likely to ever survive for an extended period of time, but it's just the gameplay, bro. It's like, as many people have pointed it out, it's so mobile game. It's so basic, and yeah, even the later iterations, the further you progress through the story, it doesn't get any more enjoyable. You crank up the damage, it just becomes laborious. They're more spongy. There's nothing new when it comes to animations or attacks. It's just, at best, you could say the game is boring and poorly written, and at worst, it is insulting and brain-rotting. And that's what the people that were even trying to harken back to the earlier days of the franchise, back when it was a cutting-edge dark fantasy RPG. They came out, they didn't know anything about the reviews. They seen, hey, another Dragon Age is finally on the market. I'll go ahead and check this out. Well, unhappy Dragon Age: The Veilguard players reportedly demand refunds in droves. Ugh. First close to BioWare and EA have reported that refunds for Dragon Age: The Veilguard have reached unprecedented numbers since the game launched on October 31st. If one were to keep their media consumption to outlets like IGN or Kotaku, yes, they might have been led to believe that EA and BioWare's latest action RPG is an unmitigated success. The game received rave reviews. Yes, Eurogamer giving it a perfect 10. Kotaku, can't quite remember, but yeah, basically everybody was saying that this is an 8, 9, or a 10. It's a great game, a fun experience, and a great way to spend 30 to 40 hours. But in reality, you're spending 30 to 40 hours with some of the most insufferable dialogue delivered by planks of wood in amidst a bunch of pronouns and gender discussions. Just screams high fantasy, right? Sources close to the game's development have been coming out of the woodwork to spill the story of what's reportedly going on in prominent independent YouTube personalities. Yes, simply put, it's not looking good for the once popular studio. Endymion has been covering, yes, the game's release extensively. Like, is he on that Park Place's payroll? Anyways, I'm always told in terms of refunds that currently the game has at least 30,000 refunds in the past few days. Interesting. Which is not good for your game that has barely sold 500,000 copies to be hemorrhaging players like this. So generally speaking, Veilguard is not a commercial success. 30,000 refunds. That's interesting, because the way that Steam runs a refund, I can't quite remember. Oh no, it's highlighted right there. I know that. Okay, 14 days of purchase and less than 2 hours of playtime, then you can get a refund. That came out, that was right after, actually something we're going to be talking about in the near future, when Batman Arkham Knight, okay, when it came out and it was a buggy disaster. Steam, back in, what was that, 2014, 2015 or something like that, when that launched, they didn't have like a proper formal refund option, so they had to institute something. So yeah, if you've bought it for 14 days, hadn't got around to it, hadn't downloaded it or anything like that, that's fine, that's all great, okay? But if you've gone through that prologue and you haven't decided to wedge something in your eardrum so you don't have to hear a ritual anymore, you could go ahead and refund it. Not too sure what Sony's refund policy is, or the 6 people that might have bought it on Xbox, but I suppose that's the way that works. And oh my god, returning physical copies to like GameStop, there's so many hoops that you need to jump through there. But Walmart, I've made a couple of returns to Walmart, but Best Buy's pretty terrible. Yeah, and unopened games was about the only way that you could do it. And that's interesting that according to Endymion, 30,000 people have requested a refund, which you would have to believe that would more than likely just simply be the digital storefront. Because if people are being cut off at the pass when it comes to trying to return a physical copy, I guess the only other thing that you could do is go, okay, screw it. We'll end up getting shafted on that front. Potentially I could just, I don't know, spin it off to a store. Okay, I could take it on down to GameStop and, potentially, spin it off for, if I can't get back the $70, maybe I can get $50 in credit and buy something that's worthwhile. Maybe I could do that, but apparently, yeah, that's not even the case anymore. Maybe the Veilguard is flooding the pre-owned market so badly that there's nothing that any of these stores want to offer for this crap. This is bad too. No secret that the Veilguard, yes, has had a rough go since launch. The game failing to reach 90,000 concurrent players, barely moving 500,000 copies. But even, Access Media heaped lavish praise on it, and that did nothing for their bottom line. I'm told this is back to Endymion, apparently. In terms of refunds, 30,000 refunds in just the past few days. Most of these refunds likely came from digital stores, of course. Unfortunately, for gamers who purchase physical copies of the title, it is a lot more difficult to return unopened games for a full cash refund. But typically, those players sell the game back to the retailer. Yes, of course. Oh, Lord, I see what's coming up, and that's kind of crazy. They take a loss on the purchase, but it's not a total loss. Yeah, and especially if you can, spin it off, and depending on if, because back in the cut, GameStop would run a promotion where, especially for something that new, like if you come back in with something, you get primo trade credit. It was not something that I ever did. Every game that I've ever bought, and think, except for exceptionally old stuff that gets, spun out at a garage sale. I keep all my games. It's mostly because it's games that, I want to play. But whatever, I've heard the stories of people, playing the game in a relatively short period of time, taking it back in, and yeah, depending on if there's a specific promotion running, you could get a fairly lucrative return and put it towards a new game, hoping that eventually, you'd miss the promo that's out there and that you'd eventually have to spend some more money. But anyways, yes, for a new game that's barely a week old, you can typically get somewhere between $30 or even $40 on a $60 or $70 game. However, a little more than a week in the player's hands, GameStop has listed its Dragon Age: The Veilguard trade-in value at $22. Yo! When you take a look at everything else that's up there, like Breath of the Wild, the OG Zelda experience on the Switch, you're still getting $15 for it. Okay. Last year's MLB The Show, you're getting $8.80 for it. Man, that's highway robbery. Undisputed. Is that a new boxing game that's out there? You're getting $22. The year-old Spooderman 2 game, you're getting $19.80 for. And a game that came out, a week after the Veilguard? A week after the Veilguard, you're getting $33 for Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Interesting. That's pathetic. But I think probably even, a bigger twist of the knife is Tears of the Kingdom that came out, 2 years ago at this point? Or was that last year? No, that might have been, 18 months removed. That's $22. Or a game that's not even a month old. Hell, barely a week old. Yeah, considering that a brand new copy of Veilguard is $69, or if you're up here in Canada, fucking stupid. You're paying $80 for that tripe? But yes, the game has seen a devaluation of 31.88% in just 12 days. When you compare the value of the Veilguard to recent games, the situation BioWare and EA find themselves in becomes clear. Exactly. And even still, right, this is all predicated on a very few number of people actually bought the game to begin with, and numbers of 500,000 being thrown around out there, and those who can't get a refund for it are getting a substantial cutback on them even trying to recoup any sort of loss for this. And well, you can take some solace in the idea and apparently the confirmed belief that not very many people are being affected by this. Multiple inside sources support the claims of abysmal sales for Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which is really not great, man, but this is supposed to be a rousing success. A second look gem that people are going to look on very kindly. By the pretty picture that Gaming Access Media has been trying to paint, the Veilguard sales have reportedly been far below projections. According to Smash JT, he has a source inside BioWare that is also telling him that, sales, they aren't great. They aren't great. After hearing the news from Endymion, who put that 500,000 units into the ether, I couldn't help but reach out to a source of BioWare to find out if that was true. Smash said in his own video, and yes, according to them, this is confirmed. About 500,000 units have sold through, and though they've had plenty returns as well, the numbers stated by Endymion are extremely accurate, signaling some seriously troubling times ahead for BioWare and EA. Thank God for that. Because, bro, if you're putting out shit like that, You don't deserve to be employed. It's like if you burn somebody's food consistently, thoroughly. Hell, actually it's even worse than that. You burn somebody's order at a restaurant and it's not even a dish that they ordered to begin with and you serve it to them. Do you deserve to have your job? You spill the drink on the person. Did you get a second chance? No, man. Hit the bricks. You did something so cataclysmically. It's crazy, right? Like it's a cataclysmic failure. 500,000 units and something that's never ever going to turn a profit, because this thing has been in development for about a decade. It's been made, remade, remade, and this is your best end product. Something that, yeah, either will bore you to tears or rob you of your will to live. This is why I don't cry whenever I hear a studio justifiably shut down or go through a round of layoffs after they release a turd. The only time that I do cry when I hear something about a studio is when they get a second kick at the can, like apparently Rocksteady's getting, and oh boy, in the near future, we got stories about that one. Because the gaming industry, especially in the West, is walking a precarious line that is only going to get thinner and thinner, mostly because the egos of these developers with their gender ideology and their leftist way of thinking continues to get fatter and fatter. Eventually something is going to give, and I would imagine that it's likely their chair. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.